looking for the king of podcasts? You're at the wrong channel. Looking for good ideas for life? You are far from good hands. If you think the listener is always right, you are far from the right place. Hosted by a Northeasterner by birth, a rebel by choice. If you want a host that floats between love and madness, then play on and listen to Crazy Train Radio.
What up? Excuse me while I whip this out.
Oh, gnarly!
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
And good evening, friends!
Are you annoyingly even keel? E-methamine could be right for you.
I have a disease, alright? I need help!
E-methamine lets you get gagged up on whoop chicken parts without yellowing one's teeth.
Yeah!
Contact your doctor today if you experience the following.
Oh my God.
Increases in blood flow, boost in testosterone, ending of erectile dysfunction.
You're naughty.
This medicine is made for extreme cases of being even keel or having extreme depression.
Oh, come on!
Side effects include fits of rage, acne, bleeding in folks around you, whooping cough, hallucinations, comas, trouble swallowing, decrease in semen, increasing amounts of selling yourself, amnesia, night terrors, higher mortgage rates, and increased sensations in not having suicidal urges.
Oh my.
With over 30 years of experience and a superb reputation for being a detail-oriented company, Lacey Cleaning has some of the highest work standards in the cleaning business.
That's the fact, Jack!
Whether it's carpet cleaning, tile, grout cleaning, new construction cleanup, rental turnovers, vent and duct cleaning, odor elimination, office and or business cleaning, power washing, residential cleaning, you name it, they do it. Check them out. To contact them today, laceycleaning@gmail.com or call them at 609-709-8536.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hi, I'm Pat Williams of the Orlando Magic. Just a reminder, you're listening to the dulcet voices. Oh boy, Crazy Train Radio. There's nothing like it.
You also know him as an executive and one of the founding fathers of the Orlando Magic and his extensive career as an executive in the NBA. Pat, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
No complaints on our end. So, jump right in here with this new book here. What actually was the inspiration to do this book, but also was there a particular story that you had heard over time that said, you know what, I might want to go this direction and do a new book?
Then a few years ago, I was invited to go up to West Point and speak to the Army men and women sports teams, about 600 athletes. And after I finished, they gave me a tour of the campus at West Point, which is a very moving experience. We ended up in a little park called Trophy Point. And I noticed in this park a bench, a stone bench, and I kept looking and I saw that there were more than one bench. In fact, there were 12 of them. That seemed a little unusual. Identical benches. And then I said, well, I'm going to take a closer look. And I noticed that there was a word carved into the stone bench. And I looked further, there was a different word carved into each of the 12 benches. Words like courage, integrity, loyalty, responsibility, trust, those kind of words. And then I thought there's got to be a backstory here, I think, and so we checked, and yes, there was. The West Point class of 1934, on the class's 50th reunion, 1984, donated those benches as a class gift. And the words were determined by these soldiers, these military leaders, who had seen action in World War II and Korea, and they thought these were the 12 key words that they had learned in their life as military leaders. Well, my reaction was, boy, this is a well-kept secret. I had never heard of this. It seemed pretty powerful, and so we went to the publisher and said, here's the book idea. We could do a chapter on each one of those words and then try and find a West Point graduate who best modeled that particular word. We were successful in doing that. And then we thought, Mike Krzyzewski, Duke coach, West Point grad, who better than Coach K to do the forward? Well, he agreed, and the end result then is this book, Character Carved in Stone. It's just come out, and we're quite encouraged with the early reaction.
Well, that is wonderful, and obviously within that answer you answered another question about the values themselves. But when you decide to do more research into this, and you found the benches and everything else like that on that particular trip to West Point, was there communication along the way with West Point as far as when you were developing the book, and what kind of reaction did they have if there was communication?
Well, we certainly let them know what we were doing, and they couldn't have been more gracious. In fact, last October we went up there with a film crew, and they followed me around for the better part of a day, getting footage to come up with a video presentation that could be used on my television interviews and so forth. And the Army staff cooperated fully. They assigned somebody with us to show us exactly where we were meant to be going. They could not have been kinder and more cooperative. So that was very uplifting to us, very encouraging that we were going to have that kind of cooperation from the staff there at West Point.
That's good to hear that they were happy to help in any way they could and whatnot. But so you mentioned there when you saw the 12 different benches and each had a different word, and wanting to find graduates that each term may fit or they may have a story. When you were trying to find these soldiers or civilians that had association with West Point, and obviously everybody has a story that goes through there, was the school and the military helpful in trying to point you in directions, finding people with these stories, or did you have to find these folks elsewhere?
Well, we did all the diggings, and first of all, we made a list of prominent people who had gone to West Point and were well known. Ulysses S. Grant, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Douglas MacArthur, Norman Schwarzkopf, General Omar Bradley, Matthew Ridgway, Jack Pershing, Mike Krzyzewski, and we kept digging and found others as well. We thought it was important to have names that people would recognize, but also a few names maybe that they were not familiar with. Were there some that we left out? Probably. But I think we got the meat of it. as far as West Point grads who we wanted to use as models in this book. I think we got everybody in there that would have been our first choice.
Okay, well that answers another question I had there as far as deciding of the stories as well. But for those who didn't hear our previous interview or have not heard of you, which they must be living under a rock, you also do some motivational speaking, and you have written over 100 books, which is amazing how you had time for anything else in life and just how deep of a process writing is. But can you compare this book to other leadership books you may have done or you have seen? How does this book differ compared to the topic of leadership?
I think each one of the books I've done on leadership is a little bit different. We've done a wide range of topics in this study of leadership, and I still think there are many more aspects that we could do. But I think this book is different. First of all, we don't build the book around one person. We build it probably around 15 different people. Who had lives of leadership. So it's a little bit wider based, but there's something about the spirit that comes from being at West Point. There's something very powerful up there. All you have to do is walk on that campus and you begin to feel it. And everything at that campus is built around leadership and teamwork. That's my sense.
Yeah, definitely.
They're training all those men and women for a life of leadership. Yes, in the military, but certainly beyond. And you can feel it. And they're also stressing the importance of doing it as a team.
Yes.
You can't do it yourself.
No,
so I'm
life you can't.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always that's my fourth trip to West Point, and I always come away charged up. Really invigorated from my time there.
Well, how can you not with the history there and some of the folks that they've turned out and just everything having to do with West Point? It's hard not to.
Yeah, I would agree totally. I have never visited the Naval Academy at Annapolis. I certainly want to do that sometime. But there's a rivalry there. In fact, when you go on that campus, you begin seeing it immediately. Signs, streamers, everywhere you go. Beat Navy.
Yeah, so when you were doing this research here and just putting the book together, was there a particular story that really floored you or surprised you that you go, this story here has got to be in a book?
Oh, there were quite a number of them. For example, General Matthew Ridgway, who we talk about, he parachuted into enemy territory on D-Day with his troops. In other words, these men were jumping out of planes with their general. That would move me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was Eisenhower. Ike once said the supreme quality for leadership is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it's on a section gang, a football field, in an army, or in an office. And so Eisenhower, before World War II, is over in the Philippines under MacArthur. The Philippine government, very thankful for the presence these leaders from America. They wanted to do something for them, and so they handed out some pretty hefty sums of money as a gift. $500,000, for example, went to General MacArthur. A very generous offer was made to Eisenhower. He declined.
Okay.
He declined. He said, I'm being paid, have no complaints. And in other words, he just wasn't comfortable taking this money. He just didn't feel it was the right thing to do for him. And that was the story we felt we needed to get in there.
Yeah, it just shows you the kind of guy he was.
Yes, you know, and he was a leader of integrity, honesty. He didn't want to be talking one way and walking in the complete opposite direction. I think that's a good definition or a good sign of integrity when your walk and talk match.
Yeah, exactly.
When
that error.
When the tongue in your mouth is pointing in the same direction as the tongue in your shoes at all times.
I like that. I'm stealing that line there.
Well, you go right ahead.
Well, Character Cards and Stone, get it wherever you get your books to read, whether it be Amazon.com, bookstores. I actually have 2 sports questions for you, if I can.
Sure.
Well, obviously, the NBA playoffs are coming up, and like we mentioned in the intro, you are involved with the Magic, have been since the beginning. Right now, as of this morning, they were ranked 7th for the playoffs, and it looks like they're going to be playing the Raptors. What's your feelings going that direction and up towards the playoffs? What do you think is going to be going on?
Then first of all, we're very excited to be back in it, and so is this community. You know, everywhere I'm going, you can feel a buzz, which is 7 years without it, but we're thrilled about that. Toronto, certainly a very, very good team. We had pretty good success with them. I don't think our players are going to be intimidated or frightened by Toronto. We've seen a good bit of them. And so I think we're going to show well.
Well, you know,
I think we're going to.
You never know once the playoffs start.
Well, that's true. I think we're going to give Toronto a pretty good run. And they're very good. Yeah, they're very good. They've got some really star players. We know that. But we have just been for the last 6 weeks just hot as a pistol, and it's continued to do that. Toronto's going to be running into a very, very hot Magic team at this point. We've probably been as hot as anybody in the league for the last month and a half.
And that's when you want to be getting hot in any sport, but especially basketball here at the end of the season, this past 6 weeks or so, like you said.
Yeah, that. You want your momentum to be coming at the end of the year, and that's certainly the case here. So it's going to be a very, very interesting period of time to see how all this holds up. I think that we're just quite eager. We start in Toronto this weekend and beyond. 2 games up there. Then we'll be home next week for 2. And our building will be absolutely on fire. I can see it now.
Exactly.
Our fans
have Amway Center.
Yeah, our fans have 7 years of passion stored up, and they're going to unleash it all. It's going to be a very, very exciting building for those 2 home games.
I can see that now at the Amway Center, which actually leads to my second question there. You've been around sports your whole life, played baseball, you've been an exec with the basketball for several teams and whatnot, but also from the Northeast originally. And you've seen different markets and just everything that goes with that. especially with basketball. They have a unique fan base. How would you compare that region, or the Orlando region's fan base, compared to others? Because obviously you worked in towns like Philadelphia that we all know has a rabid fan base and such. So how would you compare the Florida fan base there?
Oh, well, I think that our fans here, I can't speak for other parts of Florida, but I do know this, that the fans here in Central Florida can crank it up with the best of them around the country, you know, for their magic. They can take the decibel level up there with the best of them. I think we all agree that the most intense fan base is in the Northeast, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, probably shoot out to Chicago, maybe Detroit.
Yeah.
But Orlando, which is a new relatively new sports market, I would think our fans can hold their own just on pure volume, energy, excitement with any of those big northeastern cities. I definitely feel that.
Well, like we said, Character Carved in Stone, available now. All outlets you can get your book, whether online, Amazon, or go to Barnes & Noble, you know, wherever you get your books, folks. Pat is a very experienced author. He's very articulate, as you've heard here. He's just a guy that you want to listen to or read stuff he's written about. He's not coming here with his product without the knowledge and the research and just everything that goes with it. Pat, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I hope people enjoy the book. It's in bookstores now in the business section, and Amazon.com, always a wonderful way to order books as well. I'm so glad we could visit.
Thinking your day is bad and really looking to make it worse? Why not try downloading this new classic set of music that will be dropping so far off the charts there's bound to be injuries. Now that's what I call depressing. Is gonna make those who are even close to having the slightest glimmer of hope want to jump off the highest of planks. For those that are getting Now That's What I Call Depressing, you'll be getting that song that reminds you of that relationship with those cougars, Wrinkled Ladies. For those who weren't really into cougars, but those who had that special friend whilst in cell block 2B, we got for you this clusterfuck that will put you in therapy for years to come. With cheeks wide open. Who the fuck writes this shit? Oh hell, we're still recording this commercial.
Always with you, what cannot be done.
Those that rather have it out than in. This loaded hit will be dropping soon, farthing in the USA. For those who place their order by calling or ordering online, the next 100 folks will receive their choice of either a noose of good quality that won't snap, an installation of a new outlet next to your bathtub so you can now blow dry your hair in a full tub. Or the choice of the right gang to just beat the fuck out of you. Call us today at 1-800-FUCK-THIS.
Not all football helmets are created equal. Zenith, the industry leader in protective technology, is the only helmet in the game with adaptive head protection featuring a shock suspension system that can move independently from the helmet shell. Headquartered and developed in Detroit, Zenith is committed to player safety and revolutionary innovation. Zenith is proud to protect athletes at every level from Pee Wee to the pros. Learn more about the Zenith difference at zenith.com. That's XENITH.com.
Excuse me! This is Vicky Guerrero, and you're listening to Crazy Train Radio.